we're about 3/4 of the way through the book, and I said, okay, guys, we're done for the night. And I look around the room, and there's not a dry eye in the room.
Oh,
They're sobbing, and I'm just looking at this going, God, these guys are 9 years old, and they can actually understand and grasp the concept of this book and really feel the emotion. I thought to myself, maybe I really do have something here.
You're watching the Spotlight Network, starring Hollywood's newsman,
And if you were just
Logan
trying to
Crawford.
investigators, they now believe a single member.
He works with TV and film legends. And now, Logan's shining the spotlight on the world's top emerging authors and creators.
International were abducted.
This is Spotlight with Logan Crawford, streaming on Roku, Apple TV, and Amazon Fire TV.
what if the bond between a father and son could reach beyond life, beyond death, and beyond everything we think we know about reality? I'm Logan Crawford, and right now on Spotlight, we're having a deeply emotional conversation with a terrific author. His name is Bruce K. Royer, and he has penned a book you're just going to love. It is called Two Connected Souls. It is a story born from grief, healing, and the unbreakable power of love. This is a journey through loss, faith, and an unknown dimension where that connection is tested in the most extraordinary way. We're delighted to have this very talented author join us here today. We thank the team at Prime 7 Media for helping us put him on TV today. We ask viewers like you to support authors like him by subscribing to our channel and by purchasing his amazing book. The links are below this interview. Bruce, thank you so much for joining me here today.
Thank you so very much for having me, Crawford.
Great to have you on the show. Let's start out by talking a little bit about the inspiration for this book. It was born out of tragedy, the loss of your brother in large part, right?
It was. Yeah, my brother passed away in 2010. In 2009, he and I had a falling out. We weren't talking. A year later, my mother called me, said, he's sick in the hospital, and I just wanted to let you know. So I told my wife, let's book our ticket, and grabbed our 13-month-old son, and we flew down to Florida. And when we got there, the doctor basically told us 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks, but either way, the end game is going to be he's not going to make it. So we took him back to my mom's house, and we had hospice come in, and they were taking care of him. And he was so sick, Logan, that you could not even understand a word he was saying. It was just all garbled. It was horrible. And my wife, for whatever reason, could understand everything he was saying. And I was just taken back. I'm like, how do you understand him? She goes, he's just asking for something to drink. He's thirsty. And so anyways, she was helping hospice take care of him. And she asked him, do you want to meet our 13-month-old boy? And he said no. So later that night, she's talking to me, and she's like, I'm really hurt. I said, he's a really proud guy. I said, and look at him. I said, he literally looks like he's on death's door. I said, he looks like he's going to die. He doesn't want to be seen like that. And she understood that. And it was about probably 6-7 days later, I'm in the next room over, and I've got my 13-month-old in my arms, and I'm giving him a bottle of milk, and we're just leaning back on the bed. And he starts looking up at the ceiling, and he starts going like this. And I'm looking at him going, what are you doing, Jake? And he's just sitting there, and he starts smiling, and he keeps doing this. And I'm like, what do you see? And he just couldn't talk. He was 13 months old, but he was giggling, and he was laughing, and he was engaging with something there. And I'm like, this is really bizarre. But Brian died that night. And so it was very late in the night, and they came and got him, and they took him away. And then we got on a plane, and we came back to New Hampshire. And we were all exhausted. We went to bed, and I woke up the next morning, and I went to go check on Jake, so I grabbed the baby monitor, and I picked up that monitor, and I'm looking at that, and there's this bright yellow orb, and it's sitting right over his head, just glowing. Wow. And I watched it for about 10 or 15 seconds, and then I just saw it slowly drift off the screen. And I just knew that was him coming to say hi and introduce himself to my kid. So that kind of gave me the inspiration on writing a book about my thoughts and my beliefs about souls.
Yeah. Amazing, amazing. There is so much to life, to death, to the afterlife that we really only know maybe this much, if anything, about. And the things that we experience when someone's passing are truly amazing. You do have dreams of the people where they talk to you, and I always find that such a comforting connection. The connection that you have between your son and your brother, that's amazing. Tell us how you took your real life experience and turned that into the story of two connected souls.
Well, what happened after he died was I had suffered an immense amount of I don't know, it was like cataclysmic losses. I had owned a construction company for 27 years, and I was running about 100 men at one point in time, and we just had a whole, it was like nonstop, Logan, months after months after months. It went on for almost 36 months until the end game was I lost everything. And I mean, I don't know if you want me to go through a timeline of the situations, but it was just like getting hit after hit after hit. I was just like,
Like
oh my God.
dominoes falling, one bad thing after another. It
Yeah.
seems when the rain starts falling, it starts storming, right?
Yeah. I mean, it was a year after Brian died in 2011 in November. I found out that the person who had been working with me for over a decade had been cooking the books and embezzling hundreds of thousands of dollars from me.
Wow.
Turned out to be a family member. It was 2 months later in January, I terminated that person. And then at the end of January that month, my wife got pregnant with twins. And then it was a month after that, my brother, who was in charge of my operations, he suffered from a stroke, almost died. It was then the middle of that month that my wife found out that we're having triplets, not twins.
Wow.
Yeah, and then it was later that month, beginning of March, I hired a new office manager. She was fantastic. She was doing an awesome job. And then I come to find out in June she got pregnant, and she was going to have a baby. And then it was later on that month that my wife was in dental hygiene course, and probably one of the hardest courses in the state of New Hampshire in the Northeast for dental hygiene. And because of the pregnancy, we had to go and hope the state would give her special circumstances to take the test because she couldn't separate hours because she was pregnant with triplets. And then it was July, she got hospitalized, permanent bed rest for the pregnancy. And then the next month, my triplets were born on August 6th. And then the triplets started coming home in September from 2012, a month later. And then the new office manager tells me that she's leaving permanently when the baby comes. And then December, the office manager quits maternity leave. It kept going and going and going. In January, my business partner of 15 years just said, I'm done. He walked out the door 2 months after, the manager quits.
Wow.
Then in 2013, I had the Department of Labor come in and audit my books and hit me with a $500,000 fine. My lawyers tell me that's bogus and we should fight it to the end. And then 2 months later, I just said, you know what? I give up. I'm done. I want out. And in August, 4 days before my triplets' first birthday, I literally auctioned off my company and everything and just lost everything.
Wow.
And
Amazing.
so that was the end. And then after it was all done, I chipped away at the book here and there, but when all of that just happened, it was just like, it was just so draining. I just sat down, I just started writing this book, and I literally poured my heart and soul into this book. And I mean, I remember there were times when I was at the keyboard just sobbing, just trying to get through some of the verses and stuff. And it was like Jack Canfield's book, Chicken Soup for the Soul. It was a healing process. And when I was done, I just went, wow. I just put it on the desktop, and I went out and I started a new career.
Really
And it
amazing.
sat there all this time. In about 4 years ago, the twins of the triplets were having a hard time reading, so we would read every night. And I said, look, guys, Daddy's got a book that he wrote, and I'm going to read it to you guys. So we'd read a couple chapters every single night before they went to bed. And then we're about 3/4 of the way through the book. And I said, okay, guys, we're done for the night. And I look around the room, and there's not a dry eye in the room.
Oh,
They're sobbing. And I'm just looking at this going, God, these guys are 9 years old, and they can actually understand and grasp the concept of this book and really feel the emotion. I thought to myself, maybe I really do have something here. And back on the desktop, it went for another 4 years. Still didn't do anything with it, and my kids just sat there and kept saying, Dad, you got to do it, you got to do it. And I'll do it when I get a chance. Someday I'll do it, someday. And someday came. and we
Wonderful.
launched it and started getting all sorts of response and reviews, and people are going, this is amazing, what a great book, how'd you learn how to write? And it's like, I don't know how to write, I just wrote a book.
Mm,
And I wrote it from my heart and my soul, and that's
right.
how the book came out.
Amazing. I mean, well, that's the best way to write, from your own experience, from your own heart, of course, and from your soul, and sharing these profound experiences that you had. Have you ever envisioned this book as a film?
Absolutely. I mean, my wife came across a song from Lydia Laird. Um, God, just left my head. It was "Your Time Will Come."
Hmm.
Um, God, I can't think of the name of the song.
Like Through It
Anyways,
All or something?
yes, and she sat there and she put it to the picture of the book and put it on Facebook and sent it to me and said, "Hey, listen to this." And I was just taken back. I'm like, my God, I said, if you read this book and you listened to the words of that song, you would think that she wrote that song for the book. It was so
Wow.
incredible. And
Make It Through. That's the name of the book.
make it through,
Of the
yes.
song, rather. Yeah. Make It
Yeah.
Through.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you, I mean, I really think that this would make a very compelling movie.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, it's such wonderful material to explore, very philosophical, very human. It's such a great human experience. So I think it would be a great film. Um, and you're thinking about writing a sequel, I understand, as well.
I am.
Tell us
Yes, I
where
am.
that would go.
Well, if you the story basically ends. I don't want to give away any of the storylines,
Yeah.
but it would be a sequel to. Without giving away the story, it would be I would name the book "The Dark Soul Returns."
Hmm.
So,
Yeah.
which is a character in the book itself.
Talk to us a little bit about that dark character in the book. You know.
So basically, it's a the character comes from an ethereal perspective, from another world, and then this character comes out trying to basically steal a soul
Hmm.
because it wants something that it doesn't have, and it sees this and says that it wants it. So it comes after the character in the book, and that's where the other character goes in to try to save the other one.
Yeah. Amazing. Amazing. I think a sequel is due. I think that your readers would love it. Let me ask you this. When they're done with this book, Two Connected Souls, what do you hope sticks with them? What do you hope stays with them? What do you hope they learn about life? What do you hope they learn about death?
Um, that it's not the end. It's that there's more to life than death. That there's something else beyond there. We don't understand what that is, but there's definitely something there that is going to be waiting for us when we leave this. I mean, I honestly think that this is just a transition. This is just a temporary transition to what there is. I think when we are allowed to come down here, we're allowed to come down here and experience this human, life, and then we leave. There's another experience to be had, and we're given this opportunity as people to enjoy this one or to experience this one.
How important has faith been in your life?
Very, it's it's kept me going. So
Yeah.
it definitely has. Without faith, I mean, I don't. When I went through that dark time, I believe in the power of the secret, the affirmative thought. You draw to the universe what you want. If you draw negativity to you, then that's what you'll get. And when I was in that spot where I was losing everything, there was a lot of negativity. There
Yeah.
was a lot of toxicity, and as soon as I got away from that and I started, thinking what I really wanted and believing what I wanted, asking for what I wanted, then all the good started coming. You
Yeah.
know, and
Live long enough and you will get knocked down. You will hit rock bottom, no matter who you are.
yes,
The road to the top isn't a straight line, it's a roller coaster. So it's how we come up from those hills. It truly is a redemption story, right?
it is. It absolutely is.
Well, we're glad you wrote this book. It's a powerful book. It will really renew your faith. It will really renew your sense of spirit and soul. The name of the book is Two Connected Souls. It is a deeply personal, powerful, and wonderful story about a father and son whose bond is tested across life, death, and an unknown dimension. Bruce, thank you so much for joining me here today.
Thank you, Crawford.
I appreciate your time, your insight, the wonderful work you've done on this book. To the folks at home, I'm Logan Crawford, thanking you for your time this time. Until next time.